Hello and welcome to the newest episode. I've almost lost track. I think this is 10 of Two Chicks, One Show, where we discuss one currently airing show, an episode a week while it airs. My name is Tricia and she's Kait Calabro. We are the Two Chicks, and this week's One Show is Season 4, Episode 2 of Once Upon a Time, Whiteout.
All right. So in an attempt to find her sister Anna, Elsa put Storybook on lockdown, but more in her case, freeze down. Acting as dual sheriffs now, I guess, Emma and her dad David find Elsa hiding in her ice wall. Unable to control her powers, not really surprised there, still hasn't learned to control them. Elsa and Emma get trapped behind the ice. Meanwhile, Mary and Margaret is taking on some mayor duties. Hook won't give up on Emma, not Anna, on Emma. Charming has an Anna connection, and anything can happen on any given Sunday.
We will get to the Any Given Sunday stuff a little bit later, but so where do we want to start? How about we start with where we started, I guess, with at the beginning of the episode. The whole family is sort of together, and we find out that Mary Margaret's not sleeping, no surprise, because she has a newborn, and they're all about to get some unexpected stuff thrown at them. I guess one of the notable moments, one of the notable things about this episode was the fact that there basically was no Regina. After all of the melodrama she had last week, she's sort of locking herself in a house, literally locking herself away from everything and not really dealing with the shit that's going on with her and Robin Hood, and telling Henry that she doesn't want to see him, which really hurts his feelings.
Can we just bring up that, like, why didn't she just use a telephone? Like, why'd she have a crow come to the house?
Because it's more interesting and evil queen-y if she uses a crow. And stop putting logic in the show, Kait. Come on.
I know, but like, that was the one thing I was just like, a crow?
Yes, a crow. You don't have carrion birds?
Yeah, like, they have phones, and like we later learned that, like, I don't know which one of the Seven Dwarfs, but he's really pissed off that he can't get on Wi-Fi. So clearly there is modern technology in Storybrooke. So the fact that she sent a crow, maybe she was just like, she couldn't even speak. I don't know. It just
I don't know either. I think it was just a thing that they decided to do.
Clearly it was used for theatrics.
Yeah, it was totally theatrics, and it was fine, whatever. If anyone's going to use a crow, I would think it would be Maleficent, but whatever. Anyway, so since Regina has taken herself out of the picture, we have a few things going on. We have Henry being hurt that his mom doesn't want to talk to him. We have Emma trying to comfort Henry, but also being distracted by the fact that the entire town just froze over. And we have Mary Margaret now taking on mayoral duties, which makes a lot of sense. Because they did liberate her kingdom for her so that she could rule. So now, go. Do some ruling.
I don't know if she, like, those poor planning her part. Now that she's just had a baby, now she's like, oh no, I gotta save the town.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it should have gone more to David as, like, mayoral duties. Like, I'm totally fine with it being Mary Margaret, but she's also got so much on her plate right now that, like...
Or, like, maybe David could stay home and watch the baby.
Right,
Like,
No, he's off being co-sheriff with Emma again, because that's just a thing that they do now.
Yeah, that was like, I go, are they both sheriffs?
Well, they've been doing it since season 2, since she and since Emma and Mary Margaret were zapped off into Fairy Tale Land, and like David sort of took over.
Yeah, but then, you know, I guess because of that time shit from last season when they went away, I forgot.
Yeah, I don't know, but then also when they were in Neverland, I had sort of assumed that Belle would take over as mayor, which I really wanted, like, so badly. I had this whole thing in my head where Belle took over as mayor and, like, was badass, and then Regina came back, and they were like, no, we want this nice person.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Belle has proven to be as badass as I think we all wish she was.
I want her to be so much better, but we're getting off topic, okay?
Okay, yeah, continue.
So
So,
Anna is in town, and she decides that in order to find Anna, she's going to make sure that nobody can leave Storybrooke again. Not that anybody could leave Storybrooke anyway without losing their memories. Have we fixed that yet? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I have no idea at this point. Who can and cannot leave
I
Storybrooke?
thought they could leave if they brought like a trinket with them.
Oh, well, no, that was like he with the potion.
I don't know. It's just it doesn't matter. They can't leave.
So Elsa erects a giant ice wall, and Emma and David go out to look at it, and I guess Emma called Hook at one point because even though she has no desire to see him, she still calls him with her problems.
Yeah, it's like one of those things like I'll talk to you when we're not in person, but when we're in person, I'm gonna ignore you. Like it's like one of those things.
It's very strange. I still don't like that ship, and I probably never will.
I
Um,
like how like Emma now calls David dad. Like that makes me like a little happy.
does she though? Like I feel like she called him dad because she specifically said my father is outside.
I guess maybe. I don't know. I thought it was cute. Whatever. I'll just go with it.
We're just gonna roll with a lot of these plot points.
Yeah.
So they find the ice thing, and Emma goes off on her own for whatever reason to go look at something, and she finds Elsa hiding, and then they, of course, all threaten her with weapons, which causes her to overreact and trap both of them inside a little ice hole.
Yeah. Which was pretty big. It was a pretty big ice hole.
It was a pretty big ice hole. Uh, and and that's sort of the bulk of the Storybrooke side. It's all they're trapped, Emma's dying, they're having a conversation. They realize pretty quickly that Elsa's not a bad guy, which good,
Yeah.
that was going to be really annoying. And figure out what she's looking for. The actual like plot-y part of the episode was in the fairy tale land that was with Anna, and we find out that David, she shows up at his sheep farm. Um, and we find out that he and Kristoff know each other for some reason.
No idea how, but yes, they were friends.
They were friends, and he figures out she says, I know a friend of yours from Arendelle, and he's like, oh, how do you know Kristoff? And she's like, how did you know it was Kristoff? Because you just told him, you dummy.
Yeah.
So many other things.
I'm really liked David's hair extensions.
Oh, everybody loves David's. My dad called it his girly wig the whole episode.
It was nice. I don't know what made him.
He
like,
had strange Fabio hair.
Yeah, like I don't know what transitioned for him to like one day be like, I'm going to cut my hair, because when we see him in other flashbacks to I'm assuming around that time when his mother was still alive, he didn't have long hair.
Did he not have long hair when he was originally conscripted to be the prince?
No, I think he had short hair.
But they just decided he was going to have. They were probably trying to make him look really young.
Maybe so the long hair.
Just made him look strange.
But I strangely liked it. Like
I did not.
I liked long hair though. So
His hair the entire time that I was just not thinking of anything else.
and can you just like, what the hell was that Bo Peep shit? That was so.
I liked the Bo Peep thing.
I did too, but it was like
the whole idea of Little Bo Peep as a mafia boss is
it was great, but like it was
like
so random.
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't at the same time. Like, you got to think there's got to be someone who's threatening David who is defeatable, so it can't be a king. And David's a sheep farmer, sheep herder, shepherd. He's a shepherd. So, like, who is going to be threatening him? Well, you think mob, and then you think, let's think of a storybook character. Oh, Little Bo Peep, that's awesome. Let's do that.
Yeah, and it's like we kind of learned that Anna is the one that like basically gives David his balls. Like David was like pretty much
hit his balls on a handcrafted sword.
she was just like, you're kind of a pussy, and you don't stand up for yourself. I'm going to teach you how to sword fight because you don't even know how to do that, and now this is like your thing.
Yeah, I did like the note of that she learned how to both make swords and fight with them.
Yeah.
The soldiers at the castle, which was nice. At least we know a little bit of like, oh, Anna did do some interesting things while she was locked.
She was cooped up in a castle for so many years. I guess, there's only so many times you can ride your bike down the hall.
You don't know that.
I'm sure she did it every day, but
Probably. She had to get her exercise somehow.
yeah, I would do it if you had a long hallway, yeah.
I would probably have gone down some stairs at least a few times and probably broken some things.
Yeah.
On my pick.
But Anna is pretty kick-ass, and I think what we mentioned in the previous episode, how we were afraid that they were going to try to make carbon copies of both the animated Anna and Elsa to follow their live-action ones. We're starting to see them outside of Arendelle, and their characters are changing. Like Anna's not as like trying so hard to be like animated Anna now.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
a little
not
bit,
trying to be as quippy.
yeah. Whereas I guess Elsa, I think Once Upon a Time Elsa is a little bit more like she's very dependent on Anna, which I didn't see as much in the animated film, and I wish she would.
I think at this point, it's from post-animated film, she's now able to control her abilities, but she can only do it when Anna is around.
Yeah, which is kind of like a little bit annoying.
It's a little bit annoying, but it also makes a lot of sense. I feel like it has a lot of comparisons to almost like addicts, like people who can't control things unless they have certain things. Like there are people who get very dependent on other people to control their urges or addictions.
I guess it could even go on to, you could compare it to Regina and Emma, where Emma really can only use her magic when Regina's around.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with like Regina being the one who understands it, and maybe also Emma feeling like she has something to prove around someone who knows how to use magic.
That's true.
So there are still a lot of parallels. I mean, they very specifically mention, not mention, but they very specifically like shut Regina away, and sort of make that parallel between her and Anna, running away from her problems, literally locking herself in a place. And,
Yeah.
And it takes Henry forcibly showing up at the end of the episode and saying, "I'm not going away."
I miss my room.
That was cute. I've always liked Henry a lot more than most of the viewers. I think he gets annoying occasionally, but I still think he's the only one that's never lost faith in Regina.
Yeah.
Respect.
Well, it's his mom. So.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people have sort of lost sight of, and I think even the writers almost lost sight of it over the last few years. Like, even though in the beginning of season 3, Regina was only ever going to Neverland to save Henry because it's her son, we always forget that she's his mom. Way more than Emma ever was.
This is very true.
I think that's interesting. I think that's always been...
What I find interesting is, how do all the Charmings live in that loft?
I don't know, because weren't they talking for a long time about, like, them getting their own place?
Yeah, and then Emma was like, I don't know if I want to stay here. But, like, they're all still, like, that was my whole thing, is, like, why is Henry with Emma in a loft with a newborn baby, his grandparents, his mom, and, like, where do they all sleep?
There's only one bed. Like, they all somehow manage, 3 adults, a newborn, and a preteen are somehow all managing, or a teenager, I guess, are all managing to live in this teeny tiny apartment.
Like, freaking Regina has a mansion. Why don't they just all move in with Regina?
Well, because she doesn't stand for that.
Yeah. Well, at least Henry can go back there. Like, have him, like,
I don't know. I think that's part of the losing sight of who Henry's mom really is.
Yeah.
Like she raised him. He has a place there. It's his home.
It's a room.
He has a room there. It's a very nice room. I don't know. I don't know where they're going with that, but I'm hoping we see more of Henry sort of humanizing Regina, because he's always been sort of the humanizing aspect.
He's been Regina's, like, biggest cheerleader, so hopefully that will continue. And I think he's really concerned that his mom is now going to go to the dark side again. So
yeah, I think he also thinks it's his responsibility to make sure she doesn't do that.
Yeah, because she doesn't really, unlike Emma, who has her parents and Hook, she doesn't really have a support system.
Yeah. So there wasn't a whole lot in this episode. Like, a lot of second episodes of seasons for Once Upon a Time. This was more of a regrouping. Mm-hmm. First episode is always like, here, let us throw all of the setup for this first season, and now we're going to actually get into the meat. So this was a lot about figuring out where we're going to go from here. So David figures out that Anna is Joan, who he met previously, and that he will be able to find her using Bo Peep's staff.
Yeah, because she tracks people.
She brands them, apparently.
Yeah, she brands people, so she brands Joan. So he's going to be able to use her staff. He goes to the butcher shop because Bo Peep in Storybrooke is a butcher.
That makes total sense.
Totally makes sense. And gets the staff. And at the end, I guess Elsa's now staying with the Charmings as well. So now we have another person.
They're gonna hang out in that little tiny apartment together.
And then I guess Hook's staying at Granny's. Like, where the hell's he sleeping? Like,
Hook is, I don't know, because he doesn't have the boat anymore.
yeah, I guess.
He sold Charlie Rock.
I couldn't figure out everyone's sleeping arrangements, but anyway. So they end up all back at the Charmings. And they do the staff thing. And they don't see Anna, but they hear a heartbeat. So that clearly she's somewhere alive.
I don't entirely understand that, like how they could not see her but hear a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Kay.
Makes sense. Sure.
I have freaking no clue. But Rumpel obviously knows something. Not just because at the end Anna is told essentially go find Rumpelstiltskin, but also because when David is like talking about the necklace and everything, Rumpel gets worried.
Yeah. He clearly, him and Belle are back at the pawn shop, and they come in, and he's asked about the necklace, and it doesn't take a genius to realize that Rumpel clearly knows what the necklace is, clearly knows who it belongs to, and clearly knows who Elsa is.
Well, we sort of had to assume that he knew who Elsa was because she did come out of that bottle in his vault of things I never touch.
Mm-hmm.
Of things that actually frighten him. So that's interesting that he is afraid of Elsa's powers. And Robert Carlyle has said that that one of the reasons that Anna, or one of the contributing factors that to Elsa ending up in that vault, is Elizabeth Mitchell's character, whom we met at the end of the episode.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I liked that actually a lot. I'm hoping that the storyline is really interesting to go along with her little introduction.
So Emma and Elsa kind of bond over their ability to not control their powers.
And their inability to control their abilities.
Exactly. So Elsa says she's never met anyone that has powers like hers, and she thinks she's the only one.
So many times.
Huh?
They say, like, there's no one else who has these abilities, like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, you just...
Yeah. So then we go to the ice cream shop, which we've never been to before, and Grumpy goes in to get some ice cream. And is like, oh, I bet you hated the blackout. She's like, sure. So he goes away, and he takes his ice cream, and then she does, like, her magic frozen shit, and then it pulls away, and the ice cream shop's called Any Given Sunday, and it was just amazing. And it was
called Any Given Sunday.
It was probably my favorite part of this episode, was just the title of the ice cream shop. And clearly, as we all know, because it's been reported, Tricia wrote an article about it last week, I believe.
Yeah.
She is the original Ice Queen.
Yeah, she's playing the original Snow Queen from the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, which we all sort of assumed she was playing from the beginning, partly because she's blonde, partly because she looks a little like Elsa, and because it was a logical choice to go with the story. The original Snow Queen is a whole lot different than Elsa. She, like, steals children. And the original Snow Queen story is really involved. Like, it has 2 children and a mirror that only shows bad things about people, and one of the little kids gets, like, shards of the mirror in his eyes or something, and so he can only see horrible things in people, and she steals him away, and one of the other children has to, like, fight her or something. Very confusing, very, very different story.
Totally makes sense. Totally.
It makes sense when you read it, but it doesn't make sense as to how they got from that to Frozen.
I think that, I don't know, I watched that, like, making of Frozen, and Elsa was supposed to be, Elsa in the original concept of Frozen, I'm sorry, what?
He was originally a villain, right?
Yeah, and they weren't related. Anna was going to Elsa to have her freeze her heart after she was heartbroken.
And
And
that actually is, I think, one of the fan theories as to what might happen is that Regina is going to want either Elsa or this new Ice Queen to freeze her heart to make her, feel better about losing Robin.
yeah,
And then it's, that whole an act of true love will thaw a frozen heart thing.
I dig it. I like it.
I mean, it's a totally workable scenario, and I like it a lot better than some of the
That
other.
probably means that it won't happen
Yeah, exactly. It probably means it won't happen.
because it makes sense and it's nice. It's like a nice little story plot, but it
And
probably won't.
it's good for Regina.
Yeah,
We have to keep dumping on Regina.
yeah,
So I think that actually is a possibility, and because it's like the first thing that pops into your head, it's also probably what will happen because it's the first thing that pops into your head. Um, but then again, like you said, maybe not because why would we do logical things?
yeah.
Other prediction that a lot of people have, and that I also have, is that the this new Snow Queen is going to end up being Elsa's actual mom.
Yes, this is very popular fan theory.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense that it would make a lot of sense as to how Elsa ended up with the ice powers in the first place.
Yeah. Or she could have been cursed as a child.
Or she could have been cursed as a child, and it could have had something to do with their parents.
Maybe, maybe the king was supposed to marry the Ice Queen, and then he left her for the mother, and then she cursed their firstborn.
Oh, that's a very fairy tale ending, actually.
And then she has a frozen heart, and she has to learn how to love again.
I don't know about that one, but okay. um, yeah, there are a lot of predictions as to where it can go, and they're very interesting. I like the fact that this is a villain that Rumpel is afraid of.
Yeah, for once, people's like actually a little scared, and it's nice.
It's always nice to see the Dark One afraid.
Yeah.
So how this will progress, we don't know. I am looking forward to it. I liked this episode a lot better than the first one because it was less cluttered and a lot less, hey, remember Frozen? That happened.
I think it had maybe I think there was maybe 3 stories in this episode that were told. There was one big one, which was the flashback. So it made more sense. It had a better flow to it. It wasn't trying to be like, we're doing Frozen, guys. What's up? And so it made more sense. I think I wish we would have gone a little bit more into the whole searching for the damn writer, since that was such a big thing in the first episode, and now yet nothing.
Yeah, I think the writer's going to come a lot more into play when we hit sweeps, so it's going to be a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, they have to really progress this Frozen thing because it's only half-season arc.
Yeah, it's only going to go through November. It'll end before Christmas.
Yeah.
Which
So.
is a good idea, and when the snow comes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Winter is coming. But so
Oh,
I'm not writing off this half season yet. I don't love it as much. I don't think I'll ever love the show as much as I loved it the first season. Because that was when it was fresh and new and they were doing interesting things, and now it's sort of like, here, let's throw as much as we can. Please
and the
don't.
first season they weren't so scared and they kept it pretty basic, and they were like, oh, people like the show. Let's put as many fairy tale characters as possible in it.
Yeah, it was a lot more. I think they do need to go back to basics a lot, which may be what they do in the second half of the season since they're apparently bringing back Maleficent.
Yes.
So I'm interested still. Like I said, I like this episode better than the last one, so hopefully they keep up the momentum. Which would be interesting. The one other fun thing from the episode was that Mary Margaret sort of flips out on the townspeople
Yeah.
when
That
she's
was
trying to restore power. That was pretty excellent. Where she's like, "You spent your entire lives without light bulbs. Buy a flashlight."
Or when she goes, it wasn't Regina that went evil. You guys drove her evil. It's like
Yeah,
that's something
yeah,
like that. Someone.
Which actually we don't really get to see anything about like Regina actually being the mayor.
Yeah.
But I guess time didn't really progress forward for the majority of the time that she was mayor, so I don't know. There's so many confusing aspects of the show.
I guess when everyone was cursed, they just went la la la. Every day was just the best day ever.
I don't know how many people actually live in Storybrooke.
Yeah, because people don't know people are there. Like, is there, do they take a population? What is that when they do what is it, the census? Yeah, do they do a census there? I guess not.
Yeah, like they have to find people in Storybrooke, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this is a tiny town. It had one cop,
yeah.
and you have
Yeah,
to.
it just had a sheriff. Like, it wasn't even a cop, it was just a sheriff.
Yep, that's all they had. It was a sheriff.
And one car, one police car, yeah.
Yep.
He was the best sheriff in the whole world.
I have a feeling that every episode is going to eventually end on Graham.
You brought it up. You brought it
I
up.
did bring it up. I did do that. That was bad. That was just not good thinking.
Yeah. I was going to mention that, they have to be, if they didn't become such pussies, Graham would probably still be alive. It wasn't until after they killed him that they were like, oh no, we really shouldn't kill people because people get mad now.
Oh, you mean the writers?
Yeah.
But his character was set up to die. He was never going to not die.
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, if Graham was still present within the story and they wanted him to die, fans now would be freaking out and they probably wouldn't.
You think they wouldn't have done it?
Yeah. If they knew the outcome, they'd probably be like, we don't want to make people mad.
Yeah,
so it's gonna live.
I actually agree with you on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anyway, so I watched this on demand, so I don't know what is next week. Did you watch it live?
Yes.
What is next week?
Oh, so Regina comes back and she meets Elsa, and she goes, I've never seen powers like this before. And I guess we get more flashback action of Anna on her way to Rumpel. And then we actually do see Elizabeth as the Ice Queen or Snow Queen in her full getup, I guess, next week. So, see what happens.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it. That could be interesting. We shall see how it goes. Do you have any predictions beyond what we've touched on so far?
I think we did pretty much cover the predictions.
Good. All right. This has not been a very long episode. I mean, there wasn't a ton going on besides David's hair,
which was a good thing.
Magnificent wig, magnificent. His luscious locks, which were not moving at all.
Never moved. Never untucked from the ear.
They have some really good hairspray in the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah. Must be, yeah.
All right, so I think we're going to sign off. My name is Tricia. She's Kait Calabro. We are the Two Chicks. This is Two Chicks, One Show. You can tweet at us with our Twitter names right there, or hashtag Two Chicks, One Show. We'll be back next week, same time, same-ish place. We'll post a link on social media. You can also follow us at allgeek2me.net. Or just visit us and check out all the other articles we write on allgeek2me.net. Until next week, see ya.
Adios.